Hey everyone, my name is Kree, and today we are back at Low Ladder Heroes, where it's going to be Mimighoul versus the world. So specifically, we're tinkering with Mimighoul Labrynth. The Labyrinth cards just kind of serve as your removal and disruption on top of your Mimighoul cards, because Mimighoul just inherently really just lacks in the whole interruption department. Well, not interruption department, they have that in spades. What they're really lacking is a bit of grind game. It's hard for them to kind of keep on going after they've burned out. It doesn't really have the recursion that other meta decks do, and that's where Labyrinth kind of comes into play, just because it's very easy for your opponent to out the Mimighoul cards, just because there's not a lot of really strong options, as you can see here, for the Mimighoul deck to prevent your opponent from flipping your cards back up. There is Ghost Trick Knight and Swords of Concealing Lights, but you gotta see them, you know. And unfortunately, Swords of Concealing Light is not a thrust target. However, I was looking at a few Labyrinth lists, and I noticed some synergies with the Mimighoul field spell at least, because you have Terrors of the Underroot, and then you have Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon that we have in hand here that'll keep the field spell alive. And the fact that the field spell can grab Mimighouls from the graveyard deck's hand too is really helpful. As you can see here, we are just shy of dealing lethal, so we're going to give our opponent the Cerberus and the Dragon, just so it's harder for them to out. We're going to set that to Daruma Karma Cannon. Them not being able to normal summon here is kind of crazy, but them hitting the Mimighoul Dragon with Called By is also a little nuts. Here the Terrors of the Overroot comes into play. Set the Archive, they go into Phoenix, they go to pop the IDP that's set. We're going to IDP back out their Fiend and banish their board. Up next in Low Ladder Hero, we have Mimighoul versus Hero, actually. So we start first. This deck is very, well, not good, but very much stronger going first, as most decks are in the game. They don't really have a lot of going second potential, just because it's hard to break modern boards, especially with a strategy like this, where you're giving your opponent things and Master cannot flip things up during your turn. As you can see, that kind of comes into play with the Forbidden Droplet there, turning off our Master, and then they just flip up the Dragon preemptively and send it our way. So against heroes, they have Ferris or Varus, I don't even know. They're going to Miracle Fusion, we're going to chain the IDP. It's going to cause that to resolve without effect. Pass back to us. We're going to go into Mrs. Radiant, and then we're going to dungeon back for another Dragon. Add another Trap Card. The Trap Card is relatively insane. Mrs. Radiant is going to beat over. Yeah, the deck is using cards like Mrs. Radiant, so you already know what style of deck we're dealing with here. So the Welcome Labyrinth gets ashed, which is fine, I guess. They're going to Archfiend effect. They're going to lose a card, we're going to draw a card. We're going to force them to set a monster with the trap, so that way they can out normal summon. And then here we're kind of getting the ball rolling a little bit. One area this deck struggles in is just having cards in the back row in general to threaten things out. Thankfully, Mimighoul Room does trigger Welcome Labyrinth, and it does trigger the Lovely Labyrinth that we have in hand if she was on the board. So that's a very important thing to note for the future. However, here we get hit with a Jump Scare, D-Hero Plasma. They're going to flip up the Archfiend because I believe we chained Room there. Yeah, to get rid of the Plasma. So here, just going to run over the Plasma. Be just short of lethal, because I honestly forgot how much defense Plasma had, and I did not feel like looking it up in real time, because I am lazy. So, out comes the increase, here comes the Vion effect. Then we're going to Master to flip up the Archfiend, force them to lose that last card in their hand. They're going to deny her, we're going to IDP, the MVP, really, of the day. And then we're going to set the Welcome Labyrinth, and that'll do it. Next up, we have a game against White Force Centurion, a bit more of a meta deck here. We're going to start going first. Obviously, we are cherry-picking these replays, believe it or not. Give them the Archfiend so that way the Dragon can dodge the Imperm for the Maker. We don't get hit by Droll there, so we can resolve the Maker. Summon the Archfiend to flip up their Archfiend. This is going to make the Talents live that we're going to grab via Thrust. Peek of their hand. I forgot what we shuffled back there. I think we shuffled back in Nibiru, because now we're going to link up into Ensemble Robin, which is going to bounce back whatever they special summon onto their board. So they're going to flip up the Cerberus, which gives us the Toy Soldier. The trap card there does flip down the Cerberus. I should not have done that. I should have just accepted the fact that I'm special summoning something to prevent the normal summon. Here, out comes Resilia. We're going to Ensemble Robin effect to bounce it back to the hand. And now that it's our turn again, we're going to get hit with the skill drain, add a card from graveyard to hand, flip up the Cerberus, and then we're just going to go into beatdown mode, so they just scoop it up there. Up next, another meta deck, we have Fiendsmith Yubel here. We're going to go first, we're going to do the set 5 pass. Is this Fiendsmith or, is this Mimighoul or is this Labrynth? It is Mimighoul Labrynth, so we're going to Room is really crazy, so we're going to summon out the dragon here to flip down the Dark Beckoning to turn off the additional normal, while grabbing Dungeon for follow-up. Of course they have Gaze there. But on res, we're going to IDP to make them lose that target. They're going to go Phantom Pass. Here we're going to activate Dungeon to turn off their normal summons, and then grab back another Dragon. We're going to get hit with a Droll here, Dragon to their board, and we're going to Called by the Phantom so they just don't get that little bonus. They're going to flip up the Dragon, which is fine. We're going to go for the big welcome to bounce it back, but it doesn't work out. We're going to chain Terrors to the Nightmare Throne, and that will be game. And then just to end it off, because they got more support too, and this is Low Ladder Heroes, Mimighoul. So, Archfiend, set 4 pass. Pretty standard for the deck. They're going to go Pudding Sisor into Pudding Cess. We're going to go in the room, flip the Pudding Cess down, and then we're going to summon the Dragon, grab Dungeon. They're going to do Vernal Sylph plays. Here they're going to like really burn through like all of our back row. So there, you saw the big Welcome Labrynth combo. Air quote combo. We just beam out the lovely bounce back something. Terrors to out the other face up card on board. Just because I do not want them to be able to get the Link monster onto the board, the new Link monster. But so, Field Spell baits out the interruption there, which is fine. Makes Thrust or Talent live since we got Drolled. Now we're gonna go to Asa. In hindsight, should not have summoned a monster onto their board. Here I was trying to figure out what the hell to do with the trap card if we just ended up bouncing back the Field Spell for no real reason. As they're going to Archfiend, give us a card, they're going to lose a card, but then we're going to just big welcome, snipe out the last card in their hand, and that should be it. With that being said, here's the Mimighoul Labrynth list. This is nowhere near optimized. Again, the deck does have its strengths and weaknesses. Going first, if you have full setup, obviously it's a good deck. Going second, board breaking is kind of a pain in the ass. I don't know. Maybe Swords of Concealing Light can make its way into the deck. Maybe not. There's definitely some changes I was thinking about making during the making of this video. You could probably cut Lady down to 1. You can get away with 1-1 most likely. 3 big is fine. I found myself siding out the second copy of Welcome Labrynth, so you can either cut that to 1 or just cut it out entirely. Daruma Karmakin, pretty damn good in this deck, not gonna lie. Just because, again, Floodgate, yeah. Then we have Imperm, because Imperm is just Imperm. The 2 talents and the 1 thrust is always nice. Ensemble Robin, really strong link or rank 1 that you can make. If you are not familiar with the effect, the relevant effect is if your opponent special summons a monster except during damage step, detach Xyz material from this card, then target one of the special summon monsters, return it to the hand. That's all we care about, because most decks, hopefully, can only special summon that 1 time from hand, or as you saw with the White Forest replay, that 1 special summon is the critical one. Typhon came up a lot during the testing. Mrs. Radiant, she's just generic and lets you go into Bunga beatdown mode. Same thing with Asa, she lets you climb into Selene, into Apollosa or Access Code if it comes up. IP is IP, Nightmare Phoenix and Cerberus are just kind of there because I was blanking. Moon of the Closed Heaven and Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. So this is really just here to outboards or like just threaten interaction, because if they see the Closed Heaven come out, they might preemptively do something to prevent Requiem coming out if they'd rather just get rid of the chance for me to summon Requiem even though I'm not playing it, which is always kind of funny. SP Little Knight is SP. Dark to Dark Charmer is just something else to go into if like I have Anima and they have an SP or something. Selene, Access Code, Apollosa, Anima. And then the sideboard is just like a generic splash of 3-ubs, if we're being honest. But yeah, with that being said, y'all, this has been Kree with Mimighoul Labrynth on Low Ladder Heroes. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you have not already to become a creamer. And until next time, have a good time.